Hi, my name is Emily Hughes, Senior Admission Counselor here at Miami University Regionals. And I'm so excited to be talking to WorkPlus students today. So first off, thanks so much for joining us. Would you care to introduce yourself?
I'm Brendan Payne, and I am just a freshman at Miami, and I live in Trenton, and I'm going to school to be a teacher.
Hi, my name's Chris Goodwin. I'm actually a senior at Miami University. This is my last semester starting right here. So I'm really pumped to graduate in May. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I'm from Fairfield.
My name is Jeremiah Watena. I'm a small business management and commerce major. I'm a sophomore at Miami University Hamilton, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
I am Evan Olden. I am an electrical and computer engineering technology major. I'm a junior, and my hometown is Oxford, Ohio.
So my name's George Laffey. I'm a senior at Miami Hamilton, and I'm majoring in psychological science right now, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
How did you get started in WorkPlus?
Got started in WorkPlus really just because I had been working since I was a freshman in high school. I was a kind of a manager at this gun club in Middletown, and I played a little bit of sports, but I was always at work, and my guidance counselor and my administrator asked me if I'd be interested in it because I could manage work and school. I always did good at managing that, so they thought I would be a good little guinea pig, I guess.
I got started in WorkPlus. It was a really funny story. I was doing some hard labor. It was summertime. I get an email and it said something like free college. I was like, oh, I'll just check this email out. So I did click on the email. I followed the steps, and I met with Kelly. Got started into the WorkPlus program. She plugged me in and got into a great company.
Actually, my mom is the one that found the email. Thankfully for her, because I don't go through emails like that, but she had access to my email, and she just saw the big red letters, go to school for free, debt free, something like that. So that obviously grabbed her attention, and then she told me about it.
So I was looking for more like another campus job, and I scrolled across like an advert for it. I was like, this is interesting. And I clicked on it, and I found some contact information for Kelly Brown. I sent her an email, and then I got into it.
But for myself, I had only heard about it once in passing from my teacher, and he kind of alluded to it. And I think like many other people, I thought to myself, oh, well, that's too good to be true. I'm not even going to bother paying attention to it. I'm sure there's stuff hidden between the lines on that. But then my mom had actually seen a story about it on Local 12 News. And so we looked into it a lot more, and I was like, okay, well, this is really interesting. So I reached out to Kelly Brown, the director of WorkPlus.
So next, I'd really love to know, what job do you have through WorkPlus?
Yeah, I work at Bilstein, ThyssenKrupp Bilstein. They make shock absorbers down in Hamilton.
So the job that I actually started on for WorkPlus, I was helping with planning and design for a facility. We're basically a manufacturer, which is the Fisher Group. And I really enjoyed what I did, but I was like, I wonder if I could find a way to make it kind of tie into my major a little bit more. So I shot over an email, and I was also able to get new. So I also jumped into a position with e-commerce, like our Amazon Seller Central stuff, mostly all of our Shopify. If you know what Shopify is, it's basically a lot of website stuff. I was able to use a little bit of my IT experience at Miami because I do have a minor in data intelligence through IT. So I've been able to use that to, kind of construct a few of the websites and add all of that into there. But really, I kind of sit behind a computer now and just really I build brands. And that's what I enjoy doing. And every product that we manufacture, I'll work with images for it. I'll get that live. And then we have a fulfillment center. We have all the product, hard product in the back in boxes, and I get to watch the whole process go from, just a thought all the way through. And I enjoy sitting down. I don't really have to stand on my feet all day. I can kind of sit there. It's a really good schedule, works around school too. So I do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I just do 8 hours each day.
But through WorkPlus, I work with the Fisher Group. My job title is Cost and Inventory Analyst. So I'm with the Fisher Group is comprised of 7 mini companies, and we help with innovative manufacturing from shelf to athlete product. And so we help companies from wherever spot they need to be able to either create their product or be able to sell it in stores. So I'm with the sales and marketing team, and I help brands sell through e-commerce on like Amazon, Target, Home Depot, Walmart, and things like that. But my main thing is just making sure that like all the brands that I said that we work with have inventory and stock for when they're selling through online, through e-commerce. So I just make sure that I check their sales, see how much they've sold within the past certain time period, and making sure that they have enough stock to boost their sales. And so that's my role in helping them.
So I work for ThyssenKrupp Bilstein. We produce shocks. I work in the Industry 4.0 group, largely because of my major. What I do there is I develop automated systems, basically. So while my bosses hand me projects, I fulfill them, get them integrated on the factory floor, make sure everything runs smoothly. Other Work Plus people, when they go in, they would most likely end up on the factory floor. However, like myself, the company is looking for more people who are specialized. So it's entirely possible you could start on the floor within a couple months, end up somewhere in the office doing other stuff more related to your major.
I work for ThyssenKrupp Bilstein on Bilstein Boulevard. So I'm an active assembler that can entail either putting together shocks or testing them in the final stages of development. It can vary a lot, and I think that's what keeps the job interesting as time goes on. It actually allowed me to pick my shifts. So I work Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 6:30 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. So it works out great because I have the rest of the afternoon to myself.
How do you balance Work Plus and classes?
I do it kind of just, I go with the flow. I'm not really, I put stuff in my calendar if it's important, but I'm really good at remembering what's important and what I have to do. And I kind of, when I get stuff on my to-do list, I just number them from what's most important to what's not. And I just kind of go with it like that. And sometimes you have to pick and choose what you want to do. And the fun stuff usually has to be pushed out and you don't get to do it. But when you find the time to, it brings it in.
Balancing Work Plus and social life and classes, it's very interesting at first. It's really just about getting a schedule at the start and being able to stick with it and being consistent. It's really easy to break a habit. It's hard to start a habit. It's really about just time and dedication. And then when the grades come in and the work's going good, I feel like your social life improves on the side of it. I mean, you can balance it. It's really easy to do if you learn that balance with discipline.
Really, the big thing for me, what I found for me personally, is just having a schedule. Like I know when my classes are, I know when when I have to be at work, and I know when my practices are. So just finding times and making sure that I'm productive throughout most of the day. And so that's just how I personally make sure I'm staying on top of everything. It's just having a schedule and sticking to it.
I'm kind of a little strange. I have 2 jobs and I go to school. So, it's like anything. You have to find a really special balance. It's unique for you as a person. What I do is I plan my life out to the minute. But for someone who's a bit more normal, I guess, you might start by looking at your class schedule and talking with your boss to schedule out your work week. That way you're setting yourself up for success.
And honestly, I think the biggest thing is planning out your week in advance, staying consistent. Yes, you can still have fun. The big thing is just stay on track. I think the only times where the workload got to be too much was when I myself kind of put things off until the end.
What has been your favorite part of being in the Work Plus program at Miami University Regionals?
Favorite part of the Work Plus experience is probably working with a lot of adults, I'd say, because my old job I worked with a lot of kids, and working with a lot of older people who have a lot more experience. They really have talked to me and taught me a lot of things, and they've told me kind of the paths I should take through life and the paths I shouldn't take. And I also get to I know I'm kind of set, I don't have to worry about really losing anything, because if I just show up to work and I do the best I can, then I'm starting off great.
So my favorite part of the Work Plus program, and this is going to sound crazy, but we have when I first started at the company in junior year, I really enjoyed the the people there and learning just building relationships with everyone around there. And I feel like that really helps me out with my Miami courses, and especially with student and faculty. I'd really say that jumping in here and jumping into a real world experience and plugging into a company, it helps you get those tools that a lot of students don't get when they get out of college, or they don't have. And I feel like my favorite part of the Work Plus program, and my favorite part of what Miami's done, my company's done, is they brought all that together to where I'm not wasting time. I already have the experience. I'm learning right now, and I'm gaining all these professional tools that I'll be able to use post graduation. And then again, they do have a pretty good coffee machine at the company too. I guess that's a pretty good part of it. Yeah, but I love what I do. I love learning, and I love just being able to gain as much knowledge as I can from the company, and get plugged into the real world.
Like I said, it's been such a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing I'm going to be able to graduate without debt, getting this valuable work experience in the field that I'm studying, and being able to continue playing the sport I love, getting a Miami University degree all for free, and while still working the job, it just seems like everything worked out for the best, and it's been such a blessing. So the Work Plus program is my favorite thing about it, is everything.
My favorite part has been professional development. Not only, this for me, Work Plus is kind of like a twofer, right? It's operating as a way for you to pay for my college, and it's acting as like a continuous co-op experience where I can go apply for jobs as soon as I graduate, and I've already got the 2+ years that's typically asked for people to have when they enter the professional market.
Well, definitely the program itself, in terms of paying for my school, I can't deny that. That's a golden opportunity. I wish that it had been offered when I was a freshman.
So I often hear Work Plus seems too good to be true. It seems like a scam. Like, what's the fine print? How would you respond to a student who is asking those questions?
The simple answer is just no.
It does sound way too good to be true. It works out for the both of us, because I don't get some of the benefits that a full-time worker would, but I still get obviously my college paid for, and I get good money for my pocket.
It's not you getting your education paid to sit around and just do school. You have to pass all your classes for them to pay your credits. You had to do that regardless. If you were planning on paying your tuition, you would have to work for it.
And even with my reference point of actually being in it, they still say like, oh well, what about this and this? I'm like, dude, there's nothing between the lines. The only, if you can call it a catch, is that you have to work at least 20 hours a week, maintain a C- or above for the classes that would be paid for, and then just maintain quality work ethic. So if you can do that, you're golden.
A smart idea, and they help out with your schedule, and they really help you learn a lot more than just maybe some other company that probably wouldn't care as much as a Work Plus company would.
Tell everyone it's not too good to be true.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us about the Miami University Regional's Work Plus program?
Yeah, talking about Work Plus, I would say the more kids that we can inform about it would be the better, because I feel like a lot of kids don't know about it, and if they hear about it, they are kind of like, I don't think that's real, I don't believe you. But I feel like if we get it out, and because there's a lot of good people out there that I know who would be great for Work Plus, who would really benefit from it, and the kids would benefit from it, and companies.
I mean, I would say one thing, and that is that the program's worth it. It's a lot of people talk about blessing in disguises and whatnot, but it's not in disguise at all. Like, it's right here. I feel like a lot of people don't know about the program enough. And it's really just it's a really good program, with getting college paid for and being able to gain work experience and get your feet wet and get your hands dirty and go out there and jump into the real world. The tools that you can take from your classes, you can bring it, you can implement it into work, and it's something that a lot of people don't have the pleasure to do. And that's why I say it's completely worth it. Like I said, you can help the employer out, you can help yourself out. It's really just a win-win. The whole program's a pretty good blessing. But at the end of the day, I mean, keep your grades up, and I think it's completely worth it, 100%.
It's been a real blessing. I'm glad, and I really support it. I hope more kids can end up getting into it and having the same experience that I do.
come work at ThyssenKrupp. We're a great company. We're desperate for more employees.
I would say definitely research the companies that are listed. I actually interviewed with two of them. I interviewed with ThyssenKrupp, who I'm with, obviously, as well as the Fisher Group. I ended up going with ThyssenKrupp just because I thought the pay was a bit more appealing, and it was closer to my house, so that was nice. But do research.
Thanks so much for joining us to talk about Miami University Regional's Work Plus program.